we might share a little bit about photos. We sent our photos to Tom yesterday, and we haven't seen each other's photos. So we want to guess, right?
Yes.
What they look like, because by generation, they all look the same.
Well, you probably need to get some younger friends than me. I'm a little bit older.
You said it, not me.
Sure.
Okay. You don't have to share exactly the year you graduated, but give me a ballpark.
Let's go late 80s.
Like
now that might be a stretch. That might be a little bit of a stretch. So.
All right. So I'm going to say if you're late 80s, you've got hair way up to here. Like huge hair, right? Is that part of it? And
it definitely can compete.
And it seemed like my brother graduated then. It seemed like ladies all were like lying in the grass with their hands or holding their face or.
Oh yeah, this.
Yeah. So that's my guess for yours, something like that.
I think you're spot on. So, but I think you kind of missed. You missed the tree. There's all girls. We all took the picture with the tree and the park. I don't know if I'm holding up the tree. The tree's holding up me, and that hair.
Your hair's not that big.
Well, I'm still trying to grow all those layers out, but those highlights are definitely in there.
Colored hair, those are good. Right on the tree. I should have known that. Everyone is leaning on a tree.
Yep, and every guy that when did you graduate? Early 90s?
Yeah, 93.
93. Oh, you're still at that age where you'll tell the year you graduated. Get it?
But I'm only a couple years away from that.
Right, 93. So 93. All guys had their picture with their car. Every single guy I know had their picture with their car. You might have had some feathered hair. Oh, there it is.
How did you guess that?
What, the car?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have your picture with the car, there's something wrong. I mean, even my stepson, who graduated 5 years ago, has his picture with the car.
See,
my husband has his.
So funny picture about that car. It's an 83 Toyota Supra. And I bought that car, I think when I was 15, had it through high school. You know, Hannah and I started dating in 8th grade, so grew up dating in that car.
Yeah.
I sold it, and about 6 years ago, a buddy of mine, he's a car enthusiast as well. He found the exact car, the same year, color, every feature exactly the same with 22,000 original miles. I bought it, didn't tell Hannah, had it shipped. I said, meet me at the end of the driveway. I'm coming home. And I pulled up and rolled down the window, and she said, what is that? And I said, hey, come on, honey. It's like our dates. Jump in. Let's go for a date like we did in the old times.
Oh, that's good.
She said, you're ridiculous. Put it in the garage and get in the house.
And when's the last time you drove it?
I drove it just a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
It's fun. My kids think it's the coolest thing ever. Anyway, that's fun.
That is pretty cool.
To all our seniors out there, happy graduation. And hopefully parents are getting creative with it. Okay, so let's jump into a segment today. That was fun. Producer Tom's going to participate. We said last week, we want to help you look like a pro while you're on camera, while you're doing Zoom, StreamYard, Facebook Live. So let's bring in Tom. And hi, Tom. Welcome.
Thanks. Good to be here.
Are you going to show us your senior picture?
Oh. Let me see if I can find that.
I'm going to guess that he has long hair.
You got long hair?
Yeah.
I'm a little bit older than all of you. So, all right, here you go. Go ahead. Guess.
Black and white. Pam, any guesses? I think he's going to kind of have long hair, mullet maybe.
My mom worked for a photographer.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you got the good picture. Okay, the tie. He's all buttoned up.
Brilliant.
Yeah. Is that a red tuxedo jacket?
That would be early 80s. That's a band. That's the concert band uniform as opposed to the marching band. I have that picture somewhere, but not readily available.
Look at that picture with the tie. Looking sharp there.
Yeah, for sure.
Huh.
That was it.
Awesome. All right. So speaking of looking professional, tell us how to do this, because we're all on Zoom all the time. Now, agents and people are going to use this type of technology in their businesses moving forward. And we said last week, we're going to give some helpful hints because, I'm on this platform all day long, looking at people, and there's a way to step up your game, right? Can you walk us through some of that?
Sure, absolutely. So, the best camera you have is always the one you have in hand, right? So there's this one, which is a new iPhone. Those cameras are incredible. You've got your camera in your computer. You and I have cameras that we've added. You don't have to have that. Just some simple techniques will help bring the game up. so to speak. So one thing to remember is always try to get that camera up at eye height so you're not looking at the ceiling. Because when we started, Nick, this was you, right? And, you know, okay, it's not that great. But so here's the trick, right, is you say, get that camera right up to eye height. So if you're working on a laptop, if you can get an extra keyboard or whatever, put something under it. And when I say something, I mean anything. I'll give you a quick peek at mine. I'm actually using a twister box and a purple box, right? A little crazy, a lot of wires in here, but that's where I go. So whatever you can do to get that computer up so that camera is up at eye height will be the first start. And the next is lighting, right? You want to get light on your face. Pam's got some great lights that she brings light on her face. I've obviously got some lighting. That's my profession. Right behind my light is a window, so I can use that too to bring light in. Depending, you've got one to your left that you've shut it down, and
but we keep it closed. Talk about that. Some people fire open those windows, but it's the wrong angle, or if the window's behind them, then they're dark and you can't see their face.
Exactly. So in your space, we couldn't have you face the window. If you can face the window and let the light come past your computer onto your face directly, that's best. From one side can be challenging because then the other side of your face tends to get really dark. So just try to even that out. And then the other is audio. And I know you've got a nice microphone. Pam's using her AirPods. Those are great. So you can get those in, or even a pair of wired earbuds will help bring that audio definition out and make sure you're heard clearly.
Yeah, some that are using just the microphone on, say, their computer and the speaker, you get that echo and it's loud, it's hard to hear them. I have 2 sets of AirPods so that if batteries run low, I'm switching them, using them all the time, and it makes a huge difference. Yeah, for all day events, you have to do that for sure. And then the other thing is the platform you're using. So I know we've talked about it before on the show, but we use StreamYard. And then there are other platforms out there, but this one's handy. We can run everything remotely. Obviously, Pam's in Chicago. You know, you're about 5 miles away. I'm here. We've had guests from all over the world, Italy and Australia, and even some from Salt Lake, which we're going to see later. So you can use the platform to do all that. Make sure you look good. Make sure you sound good. And also, think about what you're going to say. Content's important too. Yeah. Well, I think very good, helpful hints. And some of them are so simple because this is for the first time. They call these things laptops. Don't set them in your lap and do Zoom because we're looking up your nose. It's no longer a laptop when we're on Zoom. It is a box top. There you go. Right? Well, Tom, thanks for the helpful hints. Love that you were a band nerd like I was. We have something in common. What was your instrument? Saxophone. Nice. Bringing it. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great show. Okay. See you later. See, that's good stuff. He has hooked us up. Pam, you and I probably have it in our laps looking terrible if it wasn't for him. Oh, for sure. Absolutely. And for you, for example, your lights, did you order those off Amazon, have them shipped in? I did. And they were, I don't know, $90. And they're great. I charge them overnight and they'll last. Battery powered and pop up right in front of you. So easy to get in your hands. Okay. That's right. Easy to put together. It's good stuff. Okay, we'll see you back in a few minutes, but we're going to jump into our first guest today and talk tech. We're going to talk to Mr. John Sable today. John is the co-founder of Booge, the technology that REMAX acquired. Hi, John. Good morning.
Hey, Nick. How you doing?
Good. Thanks for being with us today. Let's talk tech a little bit.
Let's do it.
So we know, first off, by the way, not all the country, not all the U.S. yet has Booge. Not other countries around the globe have it. So let's forget Booge for a minute. Can you just talk to us high level about tech in general? There's been a lot in the last month or two about what people should be using, what should they be focusing on, and why is it important to an agent? What are your thoughts?
You know, I think this time right now, it's fairly rare in the fact that we actually have time to, we're always so busy, especially if you look at our network and our top producers. So to be able to take this time and to get organized, to be able to really focus on getting your CRM together, and getting everything organized, this is really a great time to do that because it's given us an opportunity that we don't usually have. So to be able, the more time we can put into, getting stuff ready, getting the foundation built for where everything is starting to really open up and it's going to get a lot busier. So use this time to really, get organized, get your contacts together, think about your web presence, think about the story you're trying to sell, and, just really hone in on that right now in that messaging.
And if you had to say, what's the most important technology, one or two technologies that agents should have that they're working on right now for the business, what would they be?
Absolutely. I would say number one is CRM. We're in a relationship. I mean, at the heart of real estate is a relationship business. this. I've heard you say this 100 times, right? And I mean, if you think about it, when you're operating at a high level, the amount of contacts you're making on a daily basis, the amount of conversations that you're having, everything that you're doing, if you don't have systems in place to be able to capture that information and really organize that information and then have follow-up around that, there's no way you can keep it all upstairs, right? It's impossible. So I think, in my opinion, CRM really is the gold, and it's the best thing that you could implement, to retain and grow your business. I think it's absolutely the core foundation of everything. And then the second one I would say is your agent websites, right? And or any of your web presence is look at, just like we talked about with Zoom and how you're positioned on your camera and everything that goes into that. Think about a new person that's landing on your website. What story are you telling? Do you have your high school photo there? Or do you need to change that? Think about the image that you have and really look at, tell the story and talk to your audience.
And within a CRM, what are the best to-dos? What activities? Because as you know, here's what I hear from agents. They get into a CRM and it's overwhelming. There's so many activities, drip campaigns. How often should they contact? What are the one or two ideas that as people are working their CRMs that they should focus on? Because some people, they almost say they spend too much time in it when they need to be out with buyers and sellers. And so how do you balance that and making sure you're handling the right features?
Totally. I think number one thing is start with tagging. So once you get your contacts loaded, get everything out of the shoebox, get the business cards out of the shoebox, get them out of Excel, get them uploaded into to the CRM. And then it's just going through and organizing your contacts. And we have a tagging platform in there that's just awesome. And if you could tag your groups, and what we try to do is think about how you want to communicate to your groups. Do you have your first-time home buyer group? Do you have your move-up buyers group? Think about your business and how you organize it, because tags is really the fundamental thing. Because if you do that foundational correct, then when you want to start sending out campaigns or drip campaigns or anything that you want to be able to do in the future, you have a foundation. So, hey, I want to send something to my first-time home buyers. I want to communicate with my move-up buyers. Or it's somebody who lives in a specific neighborhood if there's a new development or something. Once you have those tagged and organized, then the foundational items are done. Then you can really build upon that.
That makes sense. Now let's talk Boosh specifically. This is exciting technology that REMAX, we worked together and put the companies together 2.5 years ago, approximately. And so the product has rolled out a number of features in a number of areas. Tell us how that's gone and where we're at. What's the update?
Yeah, so I think anytime you launch a platform the size of REMAX, I was looking back, just like the last couple days. And I think anytime you launch, there are some defining moments when you're making these decisions. And I can still remember sitting around with, and this was pre-MB. So I still remember sitting around with Contos and the team, and there was kind of a defining moment where we said, hey, we have to, we're going to put our REMAX on our existing platform that we have. And there was some pros and there was some cons to that. I mean, that platform had been around for over 10 years. When you have a platform in tech that's been around for 10 years, you have some tech debt, right?
Yeah.
And so you look and say, it's proven. It's the old car that'll get you to the dance. It's not going to look that great, but it'll get you to where you need to, right? Or the decision is you take it down to the studs, and rebuild it back up. And thinking about the volume and what we were going to be doing with REMAX, the bold move really was, take it down to the studs. And so we went back and forth and everything else, and we decided to take it down completely to the studs, rebuild it back up, and we had to do that in 18 months. So you're building 10 years of work product, and you're redoing that in 18 months, and that was a challenge. But I think looking back, that was definitely the right move, because what it's done now is it's put us on a foundation that we can stand on. That's the best tech platform out there. It's tied to AWS. I mean, everything that we have and how it can scale and everything else is amazing. So you're not worrying about those foundational items. Now, when you build something in 18 months, you have challenges. We've had bugs, we've had things that, but that's kind of what the risk reward was there. But we're not dealing with a core foundation. We're not thinking about how we have to jack up the house and work on the foundation right now. we're working on building new products. And if anybody has seen over the last few months how fast the team has moved and some of the things that we're releasing, that's because of the decision that we made. Now we have some short-term pain and we're working through that, but for the long term and where we're going to be positioned, I don't think we'd be better off. And I look back and I still think that was a defining moment. And I look at that and say, I think if I had to make that decision over Ido, myself, Adam, I think we'd all say we made the right decision.
Yeah, for the long term especially. And the goal obviously is agents don't like to log into 6 places to do their business and shouldn't have to. And so as this platform continues to progress and expand, that is part of the plan. So what can people expect in the near term? You mentioned bugs, and we've worked very hard to stabilize the platform. What does that look like, and what should maybe features coming up look like?
Yeah, so definitely in that we've been stabilizing. We got a team that's dedicated to that, but we also have a team that's moving forward on new features. I mean, that's the key, right? You can never stop. Once you breathe life into one of these things, it's a daily basis. So some of the big things we just released. I mean, we just released our listing blocks, which we're getting some rave reviews out there on. So that was kind of a big victory. Seller reports just came out, and we're continuing to work towards campaigns and adding a lot of stuff over the next couple months to the campaign engine, so that everybody who's been taking this time to organize their contacts, load them up like I talked, get them tagged. We're going to start providing them with more content so that they can start really communicating, with their sphere, and obviously continue to work on our mobile app. We feel that the mobile app and the consumer-facing app is really a game changer.
All right, so now if I'm sitting maybe in Canada or in another country and saying, this sounds good, I want it too, what are the plans to take it outside of the US?
So we're working with the Canadian teams right now. It's been fun. I mean, it's great. It's like, we knew we built a foundation, but then you get an opportunity to see how's it going to now apply outside your borders. So we're taking down all those requirements. We're working with them on how we're going to build that out. And there's some key fundamental differences, the way that we use postal codes, the way they have postal codes. There's some different challenges that we have there, but we're working through those right now. And we're kind of working on our timeframes on when we'd like to release that. I think there's a goal, that we would like to do something, the end of this year, but realistically, it'll probably be, at Q1 of next year.
I'm glad you even threw out times, because I was going to put you on the spot. So you beat me to the punch on that. Say, well,
exactly.
Come on. I mean, everyone wants to say, okay, when? And it's the dreaded question to a technology whiz like yourself. Is that magic when?
Yeah, and everybody always asks when, and I think the thing is, we're building towards a product, not towards timelines, as much. We have to, you always have to have a timeline, but you also want to build the very best product out there. And sometimes those are the balance that you do in the world that we're in tech is, what's that timeline look like versus the product that you want to release, and what do the gaps look like? I mean, there's some differences that we have to change when you get to into the Canadian markets.
So bottom line is dive into the platform, stay with us as we continue to build it out, because it will be different tomorrow, next week, and next month than it is today. And if people run across some snags in the process, where can they go?
So I would say reach out to support. We're working with the support team on a daily basis, and we're doing everything we can to be able to provide that level of support. Right now with COVID and everything we're having, our numbers up there in support are up. So be patient with us, but we're working around the clock to make sure that we get back to everybody and get everybody's questions answered. And before I leave, just one thing that you and I talked about that I want to make sure we nail is just, looking at some of the growth on the platform. It's we can talk about some of the challenges, but also some of our successes.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen now over 15,000 websites go live. We're about 100 a day. I mean, think about that, right? And when we see some of the things that the agents are doing with them, it's pretty awesome. When you look at contacts, we have over 20 million contacts now loaded into CRM. Right. I mean, think of the population of Colorado. I think it's like 6 million. So that puts it into perspective, And one of the things that you and I talked a lot about, and I think is near and dear to your heart, is, in these times that we're dealing with right now, we're delivering more leads than we ever have before. Mm-hmm. If you look at March month or year over year from last year, 33% up. If you look at April, I think we're around 14% up. So we're definitely, our lead volume is heading in the right direction, especially with, you know, what we're dealing with right now. So, and if we can put opportunities in the hands of our, you know, our network and our agents during this time frame, that's what we want to do.
So it's all about get the leads in, get your contacts in, make sure they're grouped, tagged appropriately. And we have over 100 websites a day on average going live with agents creating them. So that's all going to help. So these are very important things. John, thanks for being here today and guiding us through the state of Bouge and tech in general. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Nick. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care. All right, good stuff. Lean in on this stuff. Now's the time to do it. Okay, next up, let's move into our everyday hero and in the theme of our graduates. This everyday hero was unique and we thought extremely relevant. So shout out to Becca Long and Jennifer Knott. And they're from REMAX Signature in North Texas. Congratulations, ladies. This is awesome. They raised money. Their office raised money for the class of 2020. And they went out and got all the graduates gift cards, had handwritten thank you notes, made it a really special experience. And the numbers are awesome. 395 seniors at Sherman High School and 295 seniors at Denison High School. So what a way to touch those individuals' lives. So Becca, Jennifer, hats off for being an everyday hero. And of course, a reminder, if you or someone you know out there is an everyday hero, we want to hear about it. The stories are awesome of what we're hearing right now. Send them in to us at gmr@remax.com. Okay, let's get into our next guest. An award-winning actress, singer, dancer, TV show host. She has done it all. This is a true legend in our entertainment world that has been entertaining for nearly 5 decades. As she reinvents herself, had a show with her brother Donnie in Las Vegas for 11 years, and she started out entertaining at the age of 3. She's been through trials, tribulations. She's been very public about it, but she has also been a key, dear friend to REMAX for over 28 years because she is the co-founder of the Children's Miracle Network Hospitals, and the impact that that has made across society and children's lives, parents, has been over the top. So I had an opportunity to catch up with Marie yesterday, and we had a really fun interview, and she's a great inspiration. Let's take a look. Marie, hey, welcome. Thank you for being with us today.
Oh, Nick, it's a pleasure. Are you kidding? It's good to see you again.
Likewise, you say again. I had the pleasure of meeting you in 2004. You've been just a dear friend of REMAX for over 28 years. And I had the chance to meet you in 2004. And so it's just my honor and pleasure to hang out with you for a few minutes today.
Oh, you're so sweet. So let's see. I was about a year old then if it's 28 years. That's perfect.
So I can't say you've been in the entertainment business for almost 5 decades.
Thank you. So actually it's 6. It's 1 to 6. But I started as a fetus. So there.
Well, whatever you're doing, it's working. So
thank you.
Well, hey, let's start, by the way. Speaking of the relationship with REMAX, we've got to start with Children's Miracle Network Hospitals. That's how our organizations have worked together, and you're the co-founder of Children's Miracle Network Hospital. REMAX has raised over $160 million for the effort. How'd you get started?
Well, you know, it's funny how I started performing at age 3. I've never stopped. I performed every year of my life. And I was doing, I think it was a People's Choice Award or something like that, one of the award shows. And I had always believed and was taught that charity is so important, to be involved in things that bless other people's lives, especially when you're doing so many fun things yourself. To give back is just good for the soul. And they had asked if we would do some charity there. And I said, sure, I'll do it. And John was with me, John Schneider. We were both presenters. And he goes, I'll do it too. And they said, John, you can, but Marie, you can't because you just did this other charity. And I went, that is so bad. And John looked at me and goes, this is wrong. You know, we should be able to use whatever means we can to give back to those who need our help. And so that's how the idea was kind of formulated. So we started to work together on a couple other charities. And then it was, why don't we just do it for these hospitals that are last on government funding, are huge for the community, and they take all these other causes and they're treated at these children's hospitals. So whether it's an accident victim, burn victim, muscle disease, blood disease, premature infant, tonsillectomy, whatever it is, this is where you take your children for those special special needs. And we said, and let's do something really unique where we can keep all the money local so that communities help communities, and all of it goes to the kids. And so we started something very, very unique back then. When was it? 83? Yeah, I think it was 83.
And over $8 billion to date?
Oh, it's over $7 billion.
Oh, it's just incredible. I'll have to tell you a personal story. I have two boys. I'm 15 and 11 now. And my 15-year-old was treated at a Children's Miracle Network hospital when he was 2. Nothing major. We're very fortunate, but we did have an experience. And I'll tell you what, we are glad it's there. And so I have you to thank for that.
Well, it's interesting, Nick, that statistics prove everybody will use a children's hospital. Whether it's your own child, whether you were the child, whether it was a nephew or niece, brother, sister, whatever it is, every family will walk through those doors.
And it's so relevant right now with what's happening in society. Hospital and care couldn't be more important probably than ever's been in our generation.
Well, I just had a little girl on the talk, and we did another person today too who did a Make-A-Wish, which she was in our children's hospital, but I didn't say that. But anyway, this little gal from Nashville, she's going through leukemia treatments. She's a great little singer-songwriter. She just turned 15.
Oh.
And she's through these leukemia treatments that she's going through, these cancer treatments, she's going into a hospital with COVID. And so she talks about how exceptional the doctors and nurses are and how amazing these hospitals are and how they're taking on patients when the other hospitals were full. And these kids change your life forever. And having a child in there like you did, Nick, it changes you, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. And that's why I volunteer every year to do the phones and raise money. And so I applaud you for the forward thinking, and it does affect everyone. And the partnership continues to be as strong as it ever has been in REMAX. So thank you for that.
Oh, you know what? Thank you. To me, when I saw you guys interested in coming on board, what year was that? Do you remember?
1992.
Was it 90? Yes, it was 92.
I wasn't at REMAX.
No, I don't think you were born. But no, but in 92, I actually performed. And it was then I said, this is so perfect. Our balloons, that you can't get anything better than that. And so it was just one of those great unions that I think, you think about the money that you have raised and the lives you have changed. I don't think you'll ever know the ramifications till we get to the other side. But you are a beautiful company, and your people have the biggest hearts in the world.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And I'll tell you, we get nice, gentle reminders of staying involved and seeing the stories. And so we do get to see some of the successes along the way. But you're right, there are probably more out there that we even don't know.
Oh, yeah.
But speaking of that, we talk about being an entertainer. We kid, for 5 decades, and you've done it all. Singing, dancing, acting, talk show. Like, is there anything left on the list that how much longer is the list of what you haven't done?
CEO.
Okay.
Move over, Nick. No.
Well, I can't do what you do.
No, I am a CEO. But no, I have been so blessed, and God has been given me a very interesting and a unique life, and kind of a good perspective. I have 8 children. I've lost a child. I've had 3 children besides him in children's hospitals with life-saving procedures. And so, I have a great love for these hospitals. I think of all the things we do in life, though, all of it kind of came to head. I'm one of the first celebrities that talked about postpartum depression.
Mm-hmm.
But it all came to head because if you were to check off the list of everything that you needed to be successful, I had a lot of those things checked. And so why did I crash? And there were some things in my past, but even that was a great time to say, again, you go, what is the most important thing to be a happy person in life? I had a bad marriage and a few things like that I looked at finally. But you go through these things like right now, COVID, this is an amazing gift in a lot of ways. You look and go, what is really important in life? And it's giving back. It's doing something other than focusing on yourself all the time. It's looking at others with the eyes of compassion and understanding and trying to see what they go through, even amongst the crazy lives that we live. And it just really put it out in the forefront for me that when I leave this earth, I don't think people will care that I've done all these things in Broadway and all these different things that I've done. I think they'll say, oh, there's that organization, and I believe my children will be the most proud of me with the work that I've done to help children and their families.
What a great way to put it in perspective. And you know, I wanted to bring that up. I think many times it's easy for society. They look at celebrities and say your life is perfect, right? It's so easy, and the success and all the things. And you've been very public about some of the challenges that you've gone through and shared your stories, and they've inspired others. But we have some folks that I know are going to be watching this saying, I'm having a hard time right now. I don't feel like I can give back. What kind of advice can you give them to say, things may look rosy on the outside, but how have you continued to press forward? And not only that, but you reinvent yourself constantly.
Well, you have to. If you want to stay relevant and you want to stay on top of things, you have to. You have to work hard. You know, nobody gets a free pass. And if they think they're getting one, it'll catch up. That ethic is so important, that discipline. There's a great book, Make Your Bed. Just getting up and doing things to stay focused and choose that the glass is half full and half empty, and to say things like, why me? You should say, why not me? I think we learn from our trials more than we learn from our successes. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, Nick, but to stay focused on others and giving, there's so many ways you can give back. And you think, oh, what's a dollar going to do? You would be surprised. And you know, what's a smile going to do? It can make someone's day. So there's many, many ways you can give back.
And let's talk about, you're doing the talk now. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're great. I
turned in the brothers for the sisters.
And how's that been? What's the difference?
Women are high maintenance. No, I'm kind of a guy chick. It's been interesting because I have 4 daughters and I have 4 sons, but I've raised my girls to be very much like me, where it's like guys just kind of get mad and get over it, you know, and girls kind of linger. So I don't linger.
So there's a lot of fighting.
None of them do. We all get along very well.
Oh, you do.
Yeah.
And how has it been? I mean, what kind of experiences have you taken away from it?
Do you know what? I think it's been a very different situation in the sense I've done shows where I'm the interviewer. I've done shows where I'm the one being interviewed. I've done shows where I host. Television is unique, where I'm the comic relief, you know, whatever it is. With this one, I'm me. And you just basically talk your opinion. The great thing about that table is nobody judges anyone for their opinion. It's just opinions, as long as we respect each other. I feel at this time it's a really great vehicle to watch, where you can learn about daily topics, hear different people's opinions, and decide what you think, or to cause you to think. And so it's been a really interesting platform. We have great guests. They show wonderful service, and people like that. Keeps you informed. It's light. We don't do politics. We're not going to divide our audience in half. So,
good for you.
Look at that on TV. You need some place to go and have, I say it's the best lunch break you can take. So
that's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this, kind of one last question on this, and then I'm going to put you on the spot here. And you don't know.
Haven't been?
We like to do that here at GMR, which is this. You've been a very public person your whole life. And so you've learned how to navigate that space, but especially when you offer opinions like you do on the talk. How do you handle people, especially incoming social media? They're going to agree with you, disagree with you, tear you apart, lift you up. That's a huge balance. And a lot of people say they won't do things because of what others will think. You haven't had a choice being in the public eye. What's your advice on how people navigate that?
Well, I think you have to have a very strong core. Nobody sits at that table that doesn't think they know who they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
You have to be pretty secure in what's made you the way you are, what's made you successful, and not be afraid to say where you have fallen or made mistakes. They're not mistakes if you learn from them. And so there's lots of ways you can look at it, but you better know who you are. You know, you don't sit at that table and be a wimp. And also, when other people critique you, you have to have a strong enough core not to let it hurt you. I think it's good to always listen to good critique. Never be so egotistical that you can't listen to someone else. But you can tell when people are just doing it to hurt. And those people, yeah, it's definitely interesting that way. You just You can read them, you can let them go, as long as you know at the core that you like who you are. Does that make sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does. And you always have.
Well, I haven't always liked myself.
But you know who you are.
Process. Yeah.
Okay,
I'm not afraid to hear truth.
Here's where I'm going to put you on the spot. Okay. Do you have a #1 hit that you've performed, recorded, written, like just #1, if you had to pick one?
One of my songs?
Yeah.
That's really hard. I love, there's even some album ones that I love. Like I love Meet Me in Montana, which was a CMA Duo of the Year with Dan Seals.
Uh-huh.
I just love that song. Paper Roses. I was 12 when I recorded it. That was my first hit record.
I wondered if you said
Just a soft spot for that, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's your first. And I remember walking in, and there were the Jordanaires who did all the singing with, they did all of Elvis's backgrounds, and Sonny James, who had more #1s than anybody on the planet. And everything was recorded live. There were like, 60 some odd people in the room. And I was 12 and a half. And I was like, I'm going to throw up. And I had to compete with these brothers of mine. And so it was, I've had an interesting life.
Oh, I thought you might say Paper Roses. Then I was going to say, can you sing a piece of one for us?
No, but I think we should do, I'm a little bit country and you can be a little bit rock and roll.
Except you haven't heard me sing, and then you would.
And that's what I think everybody wants to hear you sing.
No, that.
Oh, I do. I really do.
I have some talent.
I'm a little bit country.
I'm a
Go.
little, no.
Do it. Don't chicken out. Be brave. Be brave.
But we have to put the words up. I don't know the words.
I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Oh, that's right. Okay, you go first.
Oh,
I
no.
did.
Oh, I didn't hear it. Sorry.
I'm a little bit country.
Really good. That was really good.
I knew you were going to do that.
I'm a little bit rock and roll.
Yay!
Hey, I've grown up with you and your brother Donnie. I've always been huge fans outside. Growing up, I just think you guys are phenomenal. So thanks for letting me put you on the spot. I knew you'd be a great support. I appreciate great support.
I just want to say to everybody at REMAX too that I know when you sell your houses and you give a portion of that, and then you let the families know too that they're donating to their local children's hospital. I just commend you. What a great, that's very unique to your company. And I know there are lots of other ways that you do it too, but these hospitals do so much more than treat sick children. They train your pediatricians, they move into your communities, they educate your schools and things like that, and they're there for you 24/7. And like I said, the fact that you're involved in your local communities like that to make sure that these hospitals are there when you need them. And it's just wonderful to be a part of an organization that has such great corporate partners. And honestly, I esteem you guys as some of the best. From the beginning, I said, let's get the balloon. But it really is family. It's a family, and that's what we are too. And so on behalf of all the 11 million children that are treated every year at our hospitals throughout North America, we love you. And did I say that correctly? Yes. Did I get my math right? Yeah, I did, right? Yeah, I bet you Canada, yes. I was like, wait a second, what did I just say? But there is a heart that you have, and I've met many of you, and I know you know who I'm talking to, and you just are really good people. And I just want you to know that even with all that's going on right now, what you do blesses so many families' lives. Every minute, 62 kids enter one of our children's hospitals. That's a little over a child a second. And we give approximately I think it's almost $7,000, what is it, a minute? God, I'm gonna get my stats wrong, but I think it's a minute, $7,000 a minute to these hospitals. And so your sacrifice and your service, God bless you. You are amazing people, and it's wonderful to be involved with people that care. So on behalf of all the kids, thank you.
Marie, thank you so much. It's what makes me proud to be affiliated with this company, because this industry has been good to a lot of us, and it is our responsibility to be good to others. And this still just continues to align with who we are and what we stand for. So,
well, we love you. And that's important for us to have with you guys too, to know that when you do give, that all the money stays local and all of it goes to the children. So we want you to know that our integrity is high too for these kids, and we love you. Nick, you're an awesome man. Appreciate it.
Marie, thank you for being here. You're an inspiration.
You can't sing, you're a good man.
I can't sing, but rub this right at the end, rub that in. Well, hey, look forward to seeing you more on the talk. Thanks again for being with us. You're the best.
You're awesome. Thank you.
She is dynamite. We had more fun together. So thanks again to Marie. I'm telling you what, if you didn't smile and that make you feel good, I think the timing of it was perfect. So she is truly a neat person to be such a good friend of REMAX. Just want to make sure, thank Tom Maynor again for making us look more professional, John Sable keeping us real on tech, and of course our party planner Pam for making sure to embarrass us all as always with those senior pictures. Next weekend, or this coming weekend, is Memorial Weekend. So on a serious note, we want to make sure that we obviously honor our fallen heroes and those that have served and died for our country. So the very best Memorial Day weekend to all of you. We will be skipping next Tuesday because of the long weekend, but GMR will be right back here on June 2nd at 11 a.m. Eastern, and we will see you then. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, hope you guys enjoyed watching Good Morning REMAX along with me here this morning. That was really cool to hear from Marie Osmond. Had the opportunity to see her a couple times, never met her. But the Children's Miracle Network is such a cool cause that we get to be hooked up with. And I hope everybody has a great rest of your day and be good to one another. We'll talk to you soon. Take care.